Kellyanne Conway, a longtime pro-life advocate, says President Trump is committed to upholding pro-life policies. White House correspondent Mark Irons brings us more of his one-on-one interview with the counselor to the president.
I want to ask you one concern for Catholics is the funding of Planned Parenthood. Will the administration cut Title X family planning funds that go to abortion providers?
During the campaign, the president could not have been more explicit on this issue. There are many different clips that people have resurrected recently showing the president in no uncertain terms equivocally standing up for life and standing against taxpayer funding of abortion. We all know that Planned Parenthood gets $500 million a year in government funding and turns around and funds Democratic campaigns. They support only pro-abortion candidates. Some estimates show $60 million in spending on behalf of Hillary Clinton's presidential race against President Trump.
Well, from Title X, $50 to $60 million going to Planned Parenthood. Is the administration going to fight to cut those Title X funds?
I believe the president will do the right thing here, and Secretary Azar at Health and Human Services, Vice President Pence, staffers like me are very loud voices in this regard. And this president also recognizes that when you're taking the money, see, there's this ridiculous misnomer, you're defunding Planned Parenthood. No, you're restoring funding to qualified women health centers that do not perform abortion and perform vital health services to women like mammograms, which Planned Parenthood does not. The president of Planned Parenthood was forced under oath to testify as such and answer that question squarely for once a couple years ago when she and her group were enmeshed in a baby fetal tissue organ harvesting scandal. So Planned Parenthood standing up and saying we provide great health services to women. They furnish about 1 in 3 abortions in this country. It is a huge profit center for them. And when you look at the women's health centers around the country, you see that for every one Planned Parenthood facility, you're up to about 16 to 20 women's health centers. They provide vital services. And more to the point, you look at somewhere like Maine, where Senator Susan Collins obviously represents, there are 4, count them on one hand, 4 Planned Parenthood centers in all of Maine. There are 172 qualified women health centers. So you tell me which ones can service women better.
Well, I want to ask, the president signed the omnibus spending bill, which ultimately still gave funds to Planned Parenthood. Will he sign another bill that ultimately gives funds to Planned
Parenthood? It was hugely disappointing, including to the president, to learn that.
On the Planned Parenthood front?
Yeah, well, yes, the president, what he said in the diplomatic room when he signed the bill in was that I'm doing this because the military needs the $700 billion. I like some other aspects. The president said like the $4 billion in school safety.
He did mention Planned
$6
Parenthood,
billion for
there was
opioids.
frustration with that.
And he said, yes, he has mentioned it, and he has said, you know, I said I wasn't going to go for that again, and here we are giving them another $500 million.
So he won't sign another bill that funds Planned Parenthood.
The president has made very clear that he wants legislation put on his desk that mirrors his priorities and the priorities of dozens of other folks on Capitol Hill who even bothered to vote for the omnibus. You're talking about liberal Democrats who don't even vote to fund the government. In fact, they shut it down at the beginning of this year, you recall, and if you don't recall, people should be reminded of it. So we anticipate a rescissions package will be coming forward. If you look at that, plus you hear the president loudly and clearly last month in the diplomatic room saying, I'm signing this because Secretary Mattis and others have told me our troops need this. We know that they've been under-resourced and under-respected for so long. And he said, don't even bother sending me another package like this again. And part of that is the Planned Parenthood piece.